Hey buddy, Josh with 6 Hook Tabletop, doing a new video for a kit that is not new at all. I'm sure there's plenty of videos out here, but it's just my take and kind of my review and talk through of the British Infantry Regiment for black powder during the American War of Independence. So yeah, let's take a look at the kit, what's inside, and go over some painted models. So let's check it out. Taking a look at the normal infantry sprue, you get 2 of these in the box. Comes with 12 bodies. There's a mix of the longer coats with the tails. I think there's like 2 or 3 that have like the shorter coats worn typically in the summer for the red coats. I think it's maybe that guy right there. Nice variety of hats to really show your different options. The early war light infantry hats, enough hats to have a full battalion of grenadiers, if that's how you would like to make your models. The hands are pretty specific in terms of, you got body part B, and there will be like B1, B3, like specific sets. So there's I'll show the models later. There's quite a nice variety of poses. It's very interesting that compared to the Perrys, that these models are definitely seem like a more modern plastic, a harder plastic. There's a lot more harder edges on it. For instance, this is the Perry's similar British infantry sprue compared to the Warlord one. And it's just the Warlord one is a little bit, I think the proportions are slightly different. There's a lot more sculpted detail. I think the Perrys have a little softer, more rounded models. And that's just preference, I think. I think they both look very nice. This is what's left over of my command sprue. There's, I think, an additional six models on here. They got the different head options for your command. As we'll see later, they have the flags and the drums. So nothing too special on here. But just a standard command sprue. In terms of what's provided, they have the British Infantry Regiment going through a little bit of the history, showing examples of the King's colors, talking about royal regiments and the use of blue. In the middle, they have a nice diagram showing all the pieces. You can see where I cut one of the flags out, so that is helpful. But like I said earlier, there's not a lot of, you can mix and match a lot, but there's the wings of the elite companies are such as you can see on his left shoulder, he has his white wings to designate his elite status as a light infantry. Those are sculpted on some of the arms, so there are specific fits for specific arms, but it's nice. Talks about what parts you could use for sergeants, for drummers, for officers. I like the poses of the officer. For grenadiers, what heads to use. Light infantry, different heads for those. Then on the back, it does have a couple different flags. It talks about some about Hessians down here and stuff. I would say the only downside here is not as much history as the Perry's one, in terms of like the different colors, the different regiments and stuff. And it is a little unfortunate that it is nice that they have a spread of different colors, so like the buff, the white, yellow, green, and like black, brown down here. But they are tied to specific regiments, where the Perrys went about using flags that did not have basically it was just blurred out enough where you couldn't tell what the exact number is, and that was useful. I made a buff regiment, and for instance, what they provided was something for the 27th in the Skillen, but the flag is very specific to the 27th. So if I try to use this with a different regiment, it just would not look the same. I found a way around that kind of, but that's just something to note. The flags provided in here don't always wouldn't replicate. I'm specifically doing the Battle of Bunker Hill, so there are some specific regiments that were there, and I want to at least try to represent that through the game. So this sheet doesn't actually do that much for helping me represent those, where I think the Perry's is a little bit better, though I do prefer like the harder cardboard. It's not cardboard, but I think it's just a little thicker paper on the Warlord one. Alright, with all that rambling going on, let's take a look at the models. Alright, so we got the models built here. I'm quite pleased with how they turned out. Like I said, the kit is very nice. It's different from the Perry's. I think they would both fit very nicely on the table, but I do believe that they would like to be kept in their own battalions and not mixed too much. On the right side here, I tried to mix a little bit of different poses. As you can see here, there's a guy, I don't know if it load here, but he is essentially using his ramrod to clean out the barrel of the gun. A couple different poses I utilized is we got a bugler. Not even sure if that's how they would run them, but thought that was cool. Different model. We got a sergeant yelling out orders. Additional models made. We got our officer here. As you can see, this is a buff regiment, so I believe the coloring should be right. We have the buff facings for the officer, and for the drummer, the inverse facings being red, and as you can see, the back of his coat being buff. For the flags, this was a different regimental flag from the Warlord kit. I just smeared some paint a little bit on it to make it look a little battle worn, so you can't tell the exact numerals. So I think that fixes my issue here. And then this flag, even though there's a slightly different size, is from the Perry's, and I went with that white buff color that they provide in the kit, and I think that fits nicely. Like I said earlier, it kind of blurs out the regimental number, which isn't quite ideal, but I think it works to represent the regiment that I was doing, which I believe is the 52nd Oxfordshire, which would later get the name Oxfordshire, but had quite a prominent role in the early battles, or at least Bunker Hill, doing the history for that. Just a couple of the other poses that was done. Yeah, I got a couple guys aiming. Another guy adding some powder. It's nice that there is variety. As you can see, there's the guys in the back standing ready with their rifles, and then another guy right here fixing his rifle. I don't think this is actually an official pose, but it was kind of like a mess up, but I think it looks okay. Him getting his rifle all ready to be shouldered. So yeah, Joshua 6 tabletop, nice addition to the collection. Quite happy with how these guys turned out. And yeah, that's all I got. Joshua 6 tabletop, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.